director basically all day today. So we'll red mark on my head from my headphones. Yeah, welcome everyone. I'm going to be on video today. So I guess apparently some people wanted to see my ugly mug all webinar. So here I am. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be presenting on my computer here and showing my video on my laptop. So yeah, welcome to the webinar again. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to wherever you guys are in the world here. I'm located in Calgary, Alberta here in Canada right now, and it is 6 p.m. So welcome. And a little couple things to go through before we get started in the webinar here. As with every webinar, we're going to be having a Q&A session at the very end of the webinar. So if you have any questions, that Mark's really bothering me. Just please let me know in the Q&A section of your Zoom panel there. I'm not going to be really checking the chat window because I may not have time to do that. But please put your questions in the Q&A window and we'll get to those at the end of the webinar. And as always, we are handing out a survey. We'll be sending out a survey via email to you guys. So make sure you check your email for that, and any comments, any suggestions for future webinars, we'd be happy to have you and are happy to accommodate your requests, and we'll go from there. We'll also give you a 10% discount for the content store whenever you fill that survey for us. Okay. So some people can hear me but not see me. Let me just double check this here. Oh, the Zoom profile will show the one who's talking. Okay, well, we tested this. Let me just see if let me just turn off my microphone on my. Maybe this will help, but the audio quality might not be as good. You guys see me now? Hey, all right. Okay, cool. So there's my big red mark on my forehead from the microphone, from the headphones I had on here. I'll just take those off. I don't need audio right now anyways. Yeah, so thanks guys. Welcome. Now you can see me. Welcome. So I went through the Q&A, the survey stuff. Also, a couple things I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna actually share my screen on my computer here. There we go. A couple things to go through here really quickly. We have a special going on for content launch. Some of this stuff we're going to talk about today: the pedestrian actions, the athletic run packs for Motion Director. We'll talk about these a little bit later. We'll explore those. I'm going to put this link in the chat window for you guys, so you can have it and check it out on your own time. Bam, here we go. Okay, and yeah, so this is the Digital Soul 100 Plus. We're also going to be using this a little bit later. I'll show you how to quickly use that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the promotion. Again, this is a promotion that's going to end on June 30th. So make sure you check it out in the next few days here, and we'll close that down. And we also have our freebies. Our monthly freebie again for June is this boxing dude. I'll throw this in the chat window there as well for you. All right, and yeah, that dude has some pretty funky looking hair. And there you go. So as always, make sure to check back every month for the monthly freebie. Cool. All right. I'm going to load up iClone. I didn't even have it loaded up in the background there. So we'll just load that up. And yeah, once iClone loads up, we're going to talk about Motion Director. So Motion Director is a new tool with iClone 8. This is a tool with the intention to kind of really save people time in terms of animation. And you don't really even have to be much of an animator to use Motion Director. I'll give you a brief run through this webinar, a live demo. And you'll see a couple of scenarios where we can actually use it in a very quick and easy way. And yeah, pretty much that's it. I can hear myself in the headphones still, even though they're down on the desk. It's always annoying hearing yourself echo. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we're going to show you a couple of scenarios in Motion Director. If you go to the Reillusion site, oops, took me to the content store automatically there. Okay, if you go to the Reillusion site, there's a Learn section. Highly recommend anyone who's starting with the software, go to the Learn section and go to Free Online Tutorials. And you can find all sorts of tutorials for any software here: iClone, Character Creator, Cartoon Animator, and Actor Core, which I'll talk about a little bit later as well. iClone, you'll have the Motion Director category right here. So there's a couple tutorials that I already did. We're basically going to be covering most of the stuff that I covered in these two tutorials in today's webinar. So feel free to check those out on your own time, easily accessible from the main Reallusion page. All right, and iClone is loaded up now. Cool. All right, let's get started. We're going to do a live demo. I'm going to show you. Oops, let me move my monitor here a little bit. Sorry, my arm's in the way there. I'm going to show you a live demo of Motion Director and all the cool things it can do. I'm going to load up a project first of all here. Here we go. Let's just load up this template here, this template project. You may recognize this from some of the Motion Director demo videos. And I'm going to start off by really exploring, kind of demonstrating what Motion Director, kind of like the basic UI of Motion Director and what it kind of consists of. Because I know a lot of people, there's a lot of questions about Motion Director. It's a new tool. It's a little bit confusing at first, but we will get into the nitty gritty right away here. The first thing a lot of people are asking about actually is the content pack. So I'm actually going to go back into the content store here and show you the Motion Director content packs. I can actually even go to the chat window because I put the link there. So this loads up Microsoft. Okay. Anyways, so we have two packs currently out right now upon launch. We have this pedestrians action pack and this athletic run pack, and I'll talk about these in more detail later. But what I want to talk about first is the format of the Motion Director files, which there's three different types. There's three different formats, and I actually have a wee little presentation here to show you guys because a lot of the questions we got were about this. Let's not show that again. Okay, so it's just a really quick, you can see I'm awesome with PowerPoint here. So really quickly here, just the three different types of files in Motion Director. There are IMD files, and I'm gonna go into iClone here and show you the IMD files. Here's my project loaded up. This is the guy we're gonna animate a little bit later. We'll go to our content manager, and in the animation section, under here, you will find two folders, one for Motion Director and one for Motion Director Extension. Now, I've already installed both of those packs that you saw earlier, the pedestrian pack and the athletic run pack. You can see if I scroll down Motion Director here, you can find the athletic run pack here and the pedestrian actions pack right here. And within that, there's idles and walks, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Now, the main Motion Director, of course, if you right click on any of the files, you can see they have .imd at the end of it. Okay. Now I'm going to just right click and select find file. And you can see, maybe it's easier to look at the directory structure here. Under Motion Director, there's the athletic run pack. Now, iClone 8 comes with the male and female one by default. Okay. This is a casual. You've probably messed around with this if you're kind of curious about Motion Director, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well. And you'll see these are IMD files, okay? And under that, there is IMD data files under motions. Now, let's go back to our PowerPoint here. The IMD files are the main files, okay? This is I have like a little egg basket, you know, whatever. It's the main files. And generally, every collection that you're gonna find in the content store in the future is gonna have IMD files. And basically, it's just the main largest file type. And the IMD files are the main ones. They represent separate actions, separate kind of animations. Okay, now there's one IMD extension file that we have so far, and that is the athletic run IMD file. If I go back to my Explorer and I go into the athletic run folder, you'll see this is an IMD ext file, IMD extension file. Now, an IMD extension file basically is a pack that can be incorporated, can be combined with one of the main base packs. Now, in this case, the main base pack is the embedded one with Character Creator. Now, not Character Creator, with Motion Director. So if I go into the athletic run pack here, you'll see at the very bottom, we have one, it says content spec, it says base content. There's base content required, and the base content is the main Motion Director. That is the embedded one with iClone 8, which is the casual all that, or the casual walking motions that I showed earlier. Okay, so you can see here it says we need motion director, and it also includes a motion director extension file, which can be combined with which means it can be combined with the base motion director content. And I'll show you that in just a moment. I know maybe it's clear as mud at this point. Maybe it'll be a little bit clearer once I demonstrate it for you guys. But finally, the last one is the IMD data files. And these are smaller files that basically represent, and you'll find these in the pedestrian pack. Let's go back up to the pedestrian pack here. Oops, I zoom stuff out of the way. Pedestrian actions. So in here, you'll see walk styles, and you'll see basically some, under motions, you'll see some IMD data files. Now, IMD data files, basically, these are not triggers. These are just motions that can be blended into each other perfectly. And I'll demonstrate that a little bit later on. We might come back to this, but I think, to be honest, it's better just for me to kind of demonstrate it for you as we're going along, just so you can kind of understand a little bit better. It's always better to kind of like learn through demo anyways. Okay, but first, let's do the first demo here, since I've already gone 10 minutes. We have a lot of stuff to cover. The first thing we're going to talk about is basic controls of motion director. Let me move my zoom stuff here a little bit. Okay, so I talked about the motion director folder structure here already. Within motion director, if you go to motion director controls, when you have a character selected, you can see right now he's red because there's no IMD file applied to him. The IMD file, again, is the base motion director file that needs to be applied to the character in order to allow him to use motion director. He needs an IMD file, and those IMD files can be found in this motion director folder. Okay, anything with .imd, you can add on the end there. Now, the one I'm going to add to this character is the embedded one, male. You can see there's casual jog, there's casual walk, there's casual stroll, and then there's casual all. Now, casual all includes all of these other ones, okay? If you only want your character to jog, you can just have casual jog. If you only want your character to walk, you can apply casual walk. I'm going to apply casual all to my character, okay? With them selected, you can double click here. You can click and drag from Explorer onto your character. It'll just take a second to process. And then basically you can have your character walking around in no time. So the first thing we're going to show is kind of how to utilize motion director in a very simple way. Once this thing processes here. And let me just take a quick sip of tea. All right, so it's applied. Now you'll find there's the motion director controls on the left here. Now the character, his name is White. The name is in white, okay? And you can see casual all right here. We have our controls, which we'll talk about in just a moment, and the character is active. Now, we can record the character live by pressing record. I'm not going to do that right now, okay? I'm going to use macro data, rather, that will be applied in just a moment. Okay, so let's go to MD behaviors up here. Now, you can find all these windows up here as well. If you go to Windows, Control Center, Behavior Manager, and there's triggers, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Actually, really soon here. Let me get my face out of the way here. Okay, so you can see now we have casual. It has like a little green one beside it, and that means this is our active IMD. You can choose an IMD up here, casual all. You can see casual all, like I mentioned, includes stroll, walk, and jog. And within stroll, walk, and jog, moving the stuff out of the way here, we have actual triggers, okay? We have a dodge, jump, think, and we have different ones for jog, different ones for walk, and different ones for stroll. Now, these correspond, if we go into our motion or our main folder here, motion director, we're going to be using male in this case. You can see we have the jog IMD, stroll IMD, and walk IMD. And under motions, we have these IMD data files. And again, these IMD data files, again, I mentioned, they are kind of trigger actions that allow you to really just combine flawlessly, transition flawlessly into each other, okay? And I'll show you that in just a moment. Hopefully that's clear as mud. But athletic is not active yet. Now, if I wanted to add athletic, as I mentioned before, the IMD extension file for the athlete's run, that's actually an addition to the casual base motion, okay? The base IMD is casual. So you can add on athletic to that. If I had another IMD extension with the base casual, say like sword fighting or something that might come out in the future, you can add that here as well. Now, in order to apply that to my character, I need to go over to my content manager, and we can go to athletic run. And you can see we have all of these ones right here, but we don't want to go into the motion director folder. We want to go into the motion director extension folder. You can see we only have that one IMD athletic extension, okay? IMD extension athletic run, okay? So if I apply that to my character, look what'll happen on the right. We'll actually have the athletic pack enabled in combination with the casual pack. So what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to have our character walk around and use the casual set and the athletic set at the same time. So you can see now we have athletic here and it's enabled. And you can see our run and our dash. These are two athletic motion presets. And then we have the regular ones for stroll, and it's enabled. Okay, cool. You can motion trigger them by pressing F2 and F1 on your keyboard. I'll show you that in just a moment. Okay, and we want to make sure that all of these are active. Okay, so if we go up here to our edit behaviors, we want to make sure all of these are active. Okay, just activate all, it's fine. And as long as they're all checked, they're all good. Okay. All right, so let's start with, I guess, walking our character around. I have to explain the basics here first, I guess. So to walk your character around using motion director, go to the motion director controls. Again, we're not controlling, we're not recording rather. I'm going to control only with my keyboard right now. I'm not going to be using a gamepad or a mouse. Unfortunately, Zoom didn't allow us to have a widget that shows my keyboard and mouse controls in this webinar. But we have Twitch in the future. We'll be allowed to do that. We'll see. But anyways, I'm only going to be using keyboard. It doesn't really matter what you have enabled as long as you only use one of them. I'm going to show you first keyboard. So you can actually you can press play up here on the toolbar as well, start motion director, or you can press start down here, or you can press the Control R hotkey. Okay. Once you press Control R, it'll pop into this view. We'll talk about cameras a little bit later. I can press W to move my character around. Okay, S, or rather A and D. Okay, so it's basically just like you're controlling a game character, right? Pretty simple stuff. Now you can see on the left here, we have speed levels. And we're at walk, casual walk, which is 2 of 3. If I press shift, it'll turn into casual jog, okay? If I press control, it'll go back to casual walk. And if I press control again, it'll go to casual stroll, which is excruciatingly slow. If you have like an old man walking on the street, use casual stroll. Okay, and I can press shift again, casual walk, shift again, casual jog. Now, what I want to do while I'm messing around with this dude, you can also, by the way, press Alt and click your mouse button. So Alt left click will add a waypoint. Okay, and if I Alt and left click, then the character will follow the waypoints that I set. If I want to like interrupt him, I can Alt and right click, and he'll just go to like whatever waypoint. You can see the circles are red there. Okay, that's the basics. Now, I don't want to, we'll talk about this a little bit later. That's the basics, really. That's all there is to it. But I also want to bring up here as well are triggers. So if I go up here to the menu and I go to MD triggers, you can see it opens like a timeline type thing. Now you can see here we have athletic, jump, winded, and think. Now these are the triggers I mentioned before. This is the mode. The green is the mode here. And this allows us to change from athletic from casual rather to athletic. Okay. Now if I press F2, boom, look what happens. Now he gets into kind of like a running stance and he runs a lot faster. Okay. Boom, like this. We have dash and run. And those are the 2 different speed levels. So if I press control, we'll just go to the regular run. Okay. This is the athletic run. You can see it's a little bit bouncier. Okay. If I press shift, he goes up to like a sprint, and we'll use the sprint a little bit later on. Okay. And again, I'm just, messing around with the keyboard, and cool. Right. He says like little kind of cool turn thing, whatever. All right. Now, if I press F1, it goes back to casual. Whoops. F1 rather. There we go. And then now we have these options here: jump, dodge, low, and think. Let's go into jog here. If I press 1, it'll jump. Boom, 1, jump. one jump. Okay. And if I press 2, he'll kind of stop midway and kind of get into like a winded, like, whew, let me catch my breath. All right. And then if we go into like 3, he'll just stop jogging and for some reason start thinking. It's interrupting his jogging. If you don't press another button, if you just press 3 and like don't press anything else, he'll just continue like looping his think. He'll be like, I'm thinking for a while here. And as long as you don't press anything else, he'll just continue thinking, and then you can start moving again. Okay, that's the basic control. I mean, there's really not much to it, to be honest, the basic controls. Again, any questions you can always ask me later on in the Q&A session, okay? But what I want to do is I want to get started on our first scenario here, which is kind of a very simple cinematic follow cam. Now what I'm going to do just for kind of fun, I'm just going to replace this guy with a different type of character here. We're going to go over our actors and into character. And I'm going to use an actor core character. Oh, I don't even have them downloaded yet. So these are some actor core characters. They don't take long to download. This is from a military pack on the actor. Again, if you want to find some really cool characters to use in either your pre-viz or any sort of scenario that you need, go to actorcore.reallusion.com and you can find a lot of actors here. I'm going to use the one I'm using here is they're in uniform. Let's find them along the top here. There's so many new things here in Actor Core. There's new characters and stuff. Modern Soldiers Volume 1, this is the one I have. It's these characters right here. Julio, all right? If you want, just go to actorcore.reallusion.com. Not much difficulty there. Let's just replace this guy with this uniformed soldier here, okay? Uniformed Actor Core soldier. There you go. Oh, all right, so let's go ahead and start with this character. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do like a simple follow cam for our character. Now, in the motion director controls, there's another tab here called camera settings, another section rather called camera settings. Now, you can record to camera. You can change the initial mode from follow camera to free camera. Free camera just means if I selected free camera, for example, we had follow cam before, as you saw the camera was following along. If I select free camera and just start, we need to apply, I think it's a male character, maybe female character, we'll just apply male, whatever. Yeah, so if your character doesn't have an IMD file applied and you double click or you try to apply, try and start motion director, it'll prompt you to just apply the default one, okay, which in this case is the casual one like I mentioned. Okay, so this is free cam. So you can just walk off camera, okay? I don't want to be here anymore. Oh, I changed my mind. All right, there we go. Okay, cool. Now, every time I press start and stop or control R or whatever, if we go into macro data, these are the macro recordings that we've made. Now we can apply these to our characters. We can select this male player control and select create clip, and it'll apply all the motions that we did with the previous character to this character. Okay, so they're all compatible with each other. Man, let's get through this really quick here. I want to have to kind of, and you can probably select clear temp, by the way, to clear all that stuff. I don't really normally use it that much. But let's go ahead and start with our character. We're going to go ahead in the camera settings here. I'm going to select follow camera. I'm going to record to camera. I'm going to select here. You can create new camera. You can choose whatever you want, really. It says the main character is not set to be recorded. So we go to character settings and we have to go to record. We want to like live record the character. Okay. Camera settings here. Now you want to choose the camera settings. So you can choose this is the target actor, by the way. And I guess it is a female character. But we can go to full shot. We can go to close up. Okay. We can go to bird's eye view and we can go to custom cam. Now custom allows you to kind of define your own view. And what we're going to do is we're going to go right behind our character like this. I'm going to just rotate the camera. Doesn't really matter if it's preview. It has to be preview camera, by the way. I'm just going to go to like a level like this, maybe. Okay. This is called a very basic follow cam. And you'll see this in movies all the time. And then when we have that view, we can just go ahead and set. Okay. Now, if we go into our triggers, that is now set as custom view 1, which is our camera 1 right here in our triggers. And this will be useful a little bit later. So we're going to be switching cameras later. But I'm going to go ahead and just basically record this. All I want to do is just start recording right now. I'm just going to walk my character forward. we're going to be recording. It's not going to record macro data. It's going to record directly to our timeline. And I'll just press start. And we're going to just have a casual walk forward. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. And here we go. All right, let's have our character walking forward. I don't know, for however many frames, maybe 500 or so. And then go ahead and stop. Okay, so once we do that, what's happened is we now have a clip in our timeline that we can take a look at. So let's go ahead and press F3. F3, go into our timeline here. And move my laptop a little bit. Let's make sure our character is selected. Okay, and now we have this motion director clip right here. Now, if I zoom out and I scrub through this, boom, there's our character walking forward. And there's the camera following the character. You can actually see the physical camera there. This is called MD camera. Okay, you can call this whatever you want. You can rename it to like follow cam. Oops. Cam. Okay, and follow cam, you can see all the keyframes in the timeline. Okay, so it's basically created all these keyframes in the timeline to follow the character. Now, if I don't want to like bother with that turnaround, I can actually just break the clip. Okay, maybe right here. And I can just go ahead and right click on the clip and break it. Boom, there we go. Okay, and just move this second part of the clip to the beginning. And this is all we'll have. Okay, all I want is this follow cam. So if I change to my follow cam now, oh, yeah, we'd have to take away the beginning of the follow cam as well, but we'll just go ahead and start from here. So this is basically going to be where we started from, and there's our follow cam. Okay, so it's going to follow the character. So that's basically how you can get a nice follow. Let me just select the follow cam here, and where's the part where it starts? Over here. Okay, and then you just want to like delete all those keyframes before that. Really, I have to zoom in really quick. Select them all. Allows me to click and drag. There we go. Okay, so then our camera just starts here and starts following right here. Okay. All right, fair enough. So what we're going to do now is I want to show you, that's basically, I can just do a quick follow cam with Motion Director. What I want to show you next is kind of like how to kind of, I saw this, someone made a video on YouTube about how to kind of carry a gun using a Motion Director clip, which I thought was kind of cool. So I wanted to kind of share that again. If you're the person who came up with that tutorial, good job on that. I just wanted to kind of show you guys kind of a cool way to have your character like mix the keyframe editor, or the motion key editor rather, with your Motion Director motion. Okay, so we're just gonna have our character here. I'm just gonna go to preview cam right now, and we're gonna switch over to the front here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my character kind of have a cool pose where she's going to be carrying a rifle. And so let's go to our content manager. I'm going to search under animations for rifle. There's a pack that I have. And this one is, it's called Patrol Idle, I believe. So there's a few motions here. Now, what I want to do first before I apply that motion is I want to move my Motion Director clip a little bit ahead, because we're going to kind of mix two clips together using the motion layer editor here. So what is it called again? Patrol Idle. Patrol. Cool pose. Oh, this is the one here. Okay, so I'm just going to apply that to the character, and you can see there she pops into that pose. And this is actually an idle motion, okay? So it just moves a little bit, but don't worry. All we're gonna do here is we're gonna copy this pose, and we're gonna paste the upper body part onto the second clip. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to our Modify tab. Let's go to Animations and Edit Motion Layer. This is also a new feature with iClone 8 that allows you to really copy pose and paste pose, and you can mask out certain parts of the body here as well. So to do that, go to Pose Mixer up here. And I'm just going to select the upper body. Okay, so everything in green is the stuff that's going to be copied. Everything in gray is the stuff that's masked out. So I'm actually going to mask out the torso as well. I'm only going to copy her head and arm positions. So just go ahead and select Copy Pose and go to frame 1 of the second clip. Shazam, just right there. And go ahead and paste those. Okay, so now we have her, the entire duration of this walk that we just created, we have her kind of holding like in a rifle position there. So that's basically all I want to do here. I'm going to close that down, and we can just delete the first idle motion that we created that pose from. Okay, so now we have this. Cool. We can move it to the beginning, and she will just have this pose. So let's get a rifle for her to hold really quickly, and that'll be in prompts, and I believe should be here somewhere. We can search for gun, military. Oh, there's a rifle here somewhere. Let's see, where is that again? There's set. Nope, not set. Let's type in pack here. Whoops. Okay, so it shows under packs. There we go. For some reason, it wasn't showing up on the regular items there. Oh, those are sounds. There we go. Okay, well, there's a rifle. Weird. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and add that rifle to her right over here. And I'll probably just move it up manually here, pretty close to her body. There we go. All right, the position is not super important, but I will try and get as nice a position as possible. There we go. Oh, okay, that kind of fell into place quite nicely. All right, cool. That looks okay. The thumb could do some work, but we'll just work with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link this rifle to my character's right hand. So over here in the attributes, we're going to go over to link, make sure at frame 1, pick parent, and pick the hand, base hand. Now what will happen is we'll have our character moving like this. Okay, looks kind of weird. I don't think many soldiers march like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix this. And what I want to do here is first I want to fix the right hand, or the character's left hand, from going all wacky and weird like that. Okay, we don't want it to be like moving around in a weird position like that. So what I'm going to use is another technique called reach target. We are taking a little bit of an intermission from the motion director. It'll be resolved later on, but I'm going to show you a couple new features, or a couple other cool features that kind of you can really work with to improve your animation anyways. Useful tips for you. So we're going to go to our animation here with the character selected and go over to reach target. And what I'm going to do, we don't need to go into bone edit mode. I'm going to select my character's left hand, and I'm going to use this one here, which is a new feature, select target and keep current pose. Normally when you use select target before an iClone 7, excuse me, it would basically pop up with a new, or it would just basically put your hand into a different position that it wasn't originally in, and you'd have to like, oh, I got to readjust this and all that nonsense. What you can do now is you can select target and keep current pose on the left hand, and I'm going to select the gun. Okay, so now the gun, the hand is basically glued to the gun, and the hand stayed in the same place, which is awesome. In the reach mode, I have rotation and transform X, Y, and Z. I can talk more about this later. It's a little bit more complicated, but just kind of have these on in general, and rotation. Position doesn't really matter in this case. Okay, so now what we have, if we scrub through our timeline, is we have the character. The hand is stuck to the gun, but as you can see, the hands are moving too much, so it's like kind of like reaching over in a weird way. It's good here, from here to like here, or here to here. You know, that's good. Then it goes through the body, which is, you know, nonsense. That's sacrilege. Okay, we don't want that to happen. So what we want to do is we want to basically, we can remove the motion from the right arm here. Now, let me show you what's going to happen if we do this. If I go ahead and right-click on the clip, and I select remove motion from the right arm, that's the arm that's kind of moving so much, so it's causing the left arm to mess around. What'll happen is, whoops, it goes like this. And that's because we basically removed all the motion for the reach targets as well. And it just kind of messes up. And this, obviously we don't want this, okay? So let's go ahead and Control Z that, undo that. And what I want to do first is right click on the clip, and I'm just going to flatten the motion clip. And we're going to flatten all layers, okay? So if you're happy with like a certain level of editing that you've done in your animation so far, you can flatten layers. Again, I recommend that you kind of save your project before you do these flatten layer things, at least different versions of your project, because you may want to go back and do different motion editing. But flatten all layers, okay, that's basically going to flatten all of our constraints and all of our keys and everything on our character. Where is she? There she is. Okay, and now what we can do is we can remove that motion from the right arm. Right arm, right? Yep, right arm. Okay, now you can see, whoop, whoa, it doesn't do anything now. Cool, all right. And now the right arm just kind of stays in position. It doesn't move around as much. Let's have a view for walking towards us. Okay, cool, that looks much better. Okay, you can see that one arm kind of straightens out maybe a little bit too much. If you find that one arm straightens out too much, you can also just go ahead and take that gun and rotate it maybe. Now, keep in mind, if I rotate it, the hands are going to follow because they're linked and attached, or the left hand is anyways. Yeah, I can move it maybe a little bit back like this, change the position slightly back. Okay, that way, the barrel of the gun doesn't have to move so far forward, which will cause the hand to move forward a little bit less there as well. So now we have something like this. Okay, and get back. All right, cool. All right, that looks good to me. And that's really the kind of scenario. I kind of just want to combine some of the new tools with iClone with our first motion director scenario, which it seems has taken a long time. But that's very useful, I think, technique to learn, kind of combining motion director together, with other techniques, other of iClone's new tools. Okay, now the next scenario I'm going to cover here, again, you can also save this as well, save the character, you can save the motion, you can convert to other characters, but I'm not going to do that right now for time's sake here. I was originally going to, but if you have questions about that, feel free to ask me a little bit later during the Q&A. All right, let's go back here and we're going to load up another project. This is a project from a very talented developer. It's called HQ Modern Office. You can find it Next Level 3D. You can find it in the content store. Okay, I'm going to load in this HQ Modern Office project. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to do kind of like I'm not sure. I know a lot of you maybe have seen kind of condos for sale or office buildings for sale and stuff like that, and they'll have these kind of marketing videos where hey, buy a condo in our new development, and there's people walking around utilizing the swimming pool or the the gym or whatever, the amenities, and they're all over the place now. I've had multiple requests myself to do stuff like that. Sometimes if I have time, I might dabble in that a little bit, but yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like basically I call it an MPC ArchViz. So ArchViz stands for architectural pre-visualization, which means you see the building before it's actually built. In this case, I'm going to use an office scenario where maybe they're renting out commercial lease space or something like that. And I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to just kind of whip this together using Motion Director, the various techniques of Motion Director. Okay, here we have the office right here. Now, what I'm going to do is just to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to remove the ceiling and the cover from this office here so we can actually see stuff. We're going to see what we're deleting here. Make that invisible. I believe this is the, no, this is the ceiling. We want to select and make it visible. Oh, yeah, just so we can kind of see it earlier or a little bit easier from an overhead perspective. No, we're going to do a lot of motion director stuff in this scenario. I'm just going to delete all these cameras that come with the project for now. And the first thing we're going to do in this scenario is the random kind of walk around. So you can have your character in the background just kind of randomly walking around doing things. Now to do that, you might have seen a tutorial. but I'm just going to recreate it here basically for you. What you want to do is you want to create a prop, an area, or a surface where your character can walk around. In this case, I'm going to go up to create primitive shape and floor. And if we can't find out where our floor is, we can always just press the W hotkey. You can see the gizmo pops up there. Let's move it up. Okay, that's a big floor. Now, unfortunately, there's no collision detection involved in the motion director wandering around yet. Otherwise, it'd be cool if you could have your character wandering around and like avoiding chairs and stuff. Unfortunately, you can only define a certain area that's free of obstacles for your character to wander around. They will avoid other characters, but unfortunately not props yet. That may be in the future. So what I'm doing is I'm just scaling down this area that I want my character to walk in. Oops, let's just stretch her out there. Now, it's always good to be on the safe side and make it a little bit smaller than the regular area that you intend your character to walk in, because they will have to make turns, and motion director will calculate the turns in weird ways. Sometimes they'll go off a little bit, and we may see that. I'm not sure because it's very random, of course. So I'm going to delete that chair. I think this chair can maybe move a little bit forward. Oops. All right, and let's bring in our first character, our first business character from the actor core set here. Again, you don't need actor core characters to do this if you don't want. I'm just gonna, have them on my computer. So let's have this dude. He looks very serious. Let's throw him in our scene. And we're gonna apply an IMD file to him, which is from the pedestrian content pack, which I showed earlier. The pedestrian content pack, really useful for just like, having your characters look like they're doing something, but they're not really doing anything. Okay, and you don't have to animate them. It's just really cool. Okay, so we'll have this guy. He looks pretty suave. We'll have him just randomly walking around in this area, talking on the phone. Now, I won't go through the whole process. I don't have time to have him connect the phone to his ear and everything, and link all that stuff. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that process. If you're not, I can always do it later. But let's go ahead into our MD controls, rather our content manager. Let's go back into our motion director under animation. And here we're going to use, make sure we're in item, not pack. Here we're going to use the pedestrian actions. Okay, and I'm going to use a walk style here. Okay, and under walk styles, we'll use a male phone talking. Okay, so this guy's going to be basically like a Wall Street trader. He's going to be like, talking on his phone, like bye, bye, bye. All right. That's kind of the inspiration I have for him. So we'll use this IMD file, which is a phone talk and walk. Okay. Now this is going to be this is a very, very simple IMD file. It only has this one motion. I'll show you that in the motion director behaviors a little bit later on. Right now, actually, now that it's loaded up. Okay. So we have the phone talk right here. There's only two. These are again the IMD files, the IMD smaller IMD files, and these are basically just going to blend into each other. Okay, if I go into view the files on this one, you can see it has motions, and these are the IMD data files. That's what I was talking about. Okay, it only has these three motions, and they're going to like flawlessly just combine into each other. They're not triggered by anything. Okay, in some of them you can trigger them, but in this case they're just going to randomly kind of come up. Okay, you'll see him talk, and he'll walk and idle. He'll walk and then he'll idle. Now you can define how long he walks and how long he idles for, and the way you can do that is by going into the MD controls and under your IMD file behavior list here, just click on this one, IMD data settings. Okay, you can choose kind of like the basics here, smoothness, responsiveness, turn rate. These are kind of more used for paths, which we'll talk about in the final scenario. But if you go to edit behavior here, whoops. Edit behavior. Oh, yeah, you need to go over here first, right? Still getting used to this stuff. What we're going to use is the auto in zone mode. Now we're not going to use, we're going to talk about control on path and auto on path a little bit later. And we're going to talk about follow in the final scenario. For this one, it is auto in zone. These are very important, these control settings, I should mention here. For this one, we're going to choose auto in zone. This is how we're going to control this guy. Okay. Now you can see it goes red because we need to pick a zone. So I'm going to pick and select this zone, okay, which is just the floor area right here. So now he's going to be constricted to that area, constrained to that area walking around. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can define how much he moves and how much he idles with this slider here. I'll have him try and move a little bit more. Maybe he's a little bit antsy. And every time he idles, we're going to determine how long he idles for. Okay, I'm just going to try and move these pretty far down. Okay, maybe like 3 seconds or something like that. In the move time range, you're going to have him moving for about, 3 seconds as well. He doesn't have any perform, so you don't have to worry about this. The switch speeds frequency, don't worry about this stuff right now. I'm just going to go ahead and play back, or rather start our simulation, and you'll kind of see what he pops into. He'll pop into this pose. Oh, let's make sure we choose a free camera first. Okay, we don't want to follow cam in this case. Start. Okay, so now he's on the phone, and he'll start walking around and kind of, in this area, maybe he's like, oh, we just lost like $1 trillion on this one stock, and blah blah blah. Of course, his mouth is not moving, but we're going to talk about how to kind of show that a little bit later using the other pack there I mentioned. You see he's idling for quite a while here. So again, it'll kind of randomly simulate. At certain times, he should start walking anytime soon here, but he's doing the idle for quite a long time. And again, if you don't like the way that simulates, you can always just restart the simulation there and try it one more time. Maybe move them back a little bit. Again, it is a brand new tool. There's some things that may not be exactly the way they're supposed to be. Okay, okay, there he goes, starts walking again. Okay, all right. Okay, so again, ideally you'd want like maybe a larger space than that. Oh, and he pops into the table there. So like I mentioned there, it's easier. It's better to like not have that, have a smaller area. You can maybe even move it over a little bit. I'm just going to do a third and final simulation, maybe make it a little bit narrower. Okay, that looks fine. Let's start this one. And this is going to be my final macro data, right? Like, no, buy, sell. Okay, idles for a bit while he's listening, and then he might start moving again. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we'll go this about, I'd say 2,000 frames. Oh, okay, luckily he didn't walk through the table that time. So you can see there is a little bit of, sometimes it goes off on a tangent there. Let's just stop it there. Okay, 1,700 frames. Now, if we go to macro data, you can see here's auto in zone. Now, you can also see the time codes. Obviously, the latest one is the one that we just did, but it'll kind of have a little 012 indicator at the end there. So you can find out which is the latest one. Okay, this is obviously the latest one right here. If we select this one, select our character, we can actually preview it. Okay, so this is the one that we just recorded. So it'll just preview it and show it again. Okay, cool, stop, okay. Now, what we can do now is just go ahead and select create clip. And when we do that, it'll create a clip for our character. Motion clip was successfully created. All right, so if we go press F3 and go into our timeline, you'll see our character. There's the motion director clip right there. And Zoom stuff is really annoying. There you go. Okay, so you can scroll through it and you can see him move around in fast, super fast motion. Okay, I think that's fine. All right. So what I'm gonna do there is just delete that chair, whatever, we don't need it. He walks through it anyways. Okay, so we have that. So let's go ahead and start on our second character. Now our second character is gonna be using the auto path. Okay, in the final scenario, we're gonna be using the kind of manual directed path. So now that I've saved that motion clip, by the way, I can go ahead and clear these macro data, just like that. I'm gonna throw out another character here. Let's go back to our actor core characters. Business, serious business. Let's have this dude here. He's going to be walking by the window and following a path back and forth randomly. So you can actually have a character walk along a path randomly. I'm going to pull these chairs in just to make some more extra room for him. There we go. Okay, and so let's go ahead and lay down our path first. For those of you who are not familiar with paths, you can find your paths by going to create and create path, the very bottom one right there. Right. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically add a few points here along the floor. 1, 2, 3, that's fine. And then you can right click. All right, so we have this path. All right. Basically, if I press W, I can raise it up a little bit so you can actually see the yellow line there. I'm not sure if it's visible to you guys there, but there's a yellow line. Okay, so let's have this guy walk along the path, and he's going to be walking along, maybe he's carrying a cup of coffee, which is another one of those IMD files from the pedestrian pack. So let's select our character. Let's go over to animations, and let's go to the motion director, walk styles again. He's going to be a male, and there's a male holding drink one, okay? Holding drink and walking. Let's just go ahead and apply that to him. So this will dictate his behavior as he walks along the path. Hopefully it's getting clearer to you as we go along, kind of how do you utilize these things. Again, it's normally easier to kind of see as they're put into use. Okay, so now he has the MD control. Go to character settings. You can see there's this businessman, which is the previous guy. Okay, now we don't want him active. We don't want him active because we already recorded for him, so let's go ahead and deactivate him. He'll continue doing the same thing. Technically, you can do this all simultaneously, but I'm doing all the characters separate. You can actually do them all at the same time and actually save a lot of time since it's all kind of random anyways. But I'm just going to show you step by step here. Okay, we're going to select this guy, and we're not going to choose control on path. We're just going to choose auto on path. So again, this is random. It's very similar to the last one we did, except he's going to be along the path instead of along the area. Okay, so these are very useful techniques just for kind of random, having an NPC character in the background or whatnot. Okay, so he's red, you need to pick a path. So pick a path, pick this path right here. It's called path, okay, conveniently enough. We want to make sure he starts on the path, okay? Now we can go further down, and again, here you can determine how much he moves, how much he idles. You can determine the idle time, the move time as well. We tried to adjust that later, a little bit earlier. Okay. And if we go to MD behaviors, he's just basically, there's a move, that's it. He has an idle like this, and he has a move like that. That's all he can do with this IMD. All right, there's no triggers or anything to worry about. So we can record this, or we can, record it into our macro data. Let's just do macro data for now and start. And I think we recorded, so he'll pop into place. And you'll see he'll walk along, stops, okay. Maybe he's on a Bluetooth or something. He should continue walking, okay. Yep. Yep, so he'll walk to the end and then he'll kind of turn back. All right, good enough for me. I think we'll just, he is doing a lot of pacing. Okay, 1700 frames I think is good for us, what we had before. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and do the same thing, macro data and auto on path. You can see it here, create a clip, and it'll save that to the character. And now if we play back, again, we can just hide this one, by the way. It's kind of standing out a bit. Let's find it in our scene manager. So we've just randomly kind of animated two characters. This guy's walking along the path. This guy is kind of really intensely whatever he's doing. Okay. And there you go. Okay, so two randomly animated characters. And again, like I said, you can do this simultaneously. We'll do two more, and then we're going to get to our final scenario. Guys, I might go a little bit overtime here, so I apologize. The beginning took a little bit longer than I expected to kind of explain stuff. But I do want to show you the follow, which is really cool at the end. So I'm going to quickly go through these last few ones here. And again, apologies if I go too quick. You can always ask me questions later. Business. Let's have, I don't know, this female character here. She's going to be the big boss in the chair. All right, and I'm going to have her apply another pedestrian motion, but this one's going to be idle. So animations, pedestrian, and this one's idle styles we're going to go into. And we're going to, there's a sit and talk on the phone. Okay. There's also, yeah, the standing talking on the phone. We're going to give her a female one though. Talking on the phone, idle. There's a female. You know what? There's no one where the female is sitting and talking on the phone. She's always standing and talking on the phone. There's leaning. Okay, we'll have her just kind of reading. Not as cool as, you know what? Actually, we're gonna save her for later because the male talk on the phone I kind of like while he's sitting down. We'll move her over here. We're gonna do one more after this. Let's replace her with a male character. I'm not being a misogynist. I just want to show you the difference of the motion director presets here. So let's go to find the business. I mean, we could give her a manly animation. It actually doesn't look too bad if you're wearing pants, but oh, this guy looks cool. So many businessmen to choose from. All right, let's give him the same thing. Okay, so we're gonna go to the animations and under, there's the male sit talk on the phone idle. Okay, again, just apply that to him. He's not gonna pop into position yet. Okay, so you can see he has 3 motions here. Again, you can't trigger these, unfortunately. If you go to edit behavior, it won't allow you to trigger them. You can activate them, but not trigger them. So they will just kind of be randomly performed. And these are the IMD data files, okay, within the main IMD file. Okay, so hopefully it's starting to become clearer to you again, or for the first time to me again. So let's go ahead and this guy is going to be talking and he's going to be randomly performing these motions. Again, you can go to the MD controls and you can kind of adjust the randomness of this and stuff. But we're just going to go ahead. We don't need to actually use any of these settings right now. We can just use macro replay or even just control, player control. As long as we don't move anything, he's not going to move anyways. But we can just go ahead and start. And he'll just randomly go into his position there. Okay. And hopefully he'll start to like talk on the phone and just does the, yeah, leg sit there. That's kind of a cool one. So again, he's just going to basically be sitting there, kind of like browsing through his phone. And when we get to 1700 frames, and then again, it'll just randomly go to a different scenario. If we don't like the way that one turned out, we can go ahead and stop and try again. Again, the macro data is recorded, so you can actually choose which one you like the most. Okay, so maybe this one, he'll, I believe this one to actually talk on the phone. Like he brings the phone up, supposed to bring the phone up to his ear. They did the same cross-legged one. If not, it's okay. Maybe he's just playing Sudoku or something. All right, but once you're, okay, there you go. Now he's like, blah, 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 starts talking. That's what I wanted to get, a little bit of that. Okay, and then stop. Yeah, cool. So this is gonna be like a 10-second clip of going through the office. So let's go to our macro data. This is our player control. This is the recent one that we did. Just look at the time code and create clip. And we'll create the clip for that character. Now you may need to tweak this position a little bit. So just go ahead and find the character, go over to your modify and you want to move the character using transform. So just press the W hotkey and move him into position on the chair. Okay. Of course, make sure this is at frame 1. And you can rotate him as well using the E hotkey, W hotkey. Let's work with that. That's fine. Okay, cool. So now we have this dude kind of sitting on the chair and doing his thing. So another randomly animated character, successful. Okay, last one real quick, and then we'll get to the follow. Let's make it go about 10 minutes over time, so apologies for that, guys. Where did our female character go there? There she is. She's going to be over here talking to her friendo. This is another random motion. Bam. Okay, she'll be over here by the sofa, and then we'll have another female character. Of course, a business female. Since this is a business office, we don't want any ogres or soldiers in here. Flip her around. So we're going to apply 2 final pedestrian motions to these characters. And then finally, we will have the facial animations for them. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just go ahead and do these 2 at the same time. MD controls. Let's deactivate all the other characters. We only want these 2 characters active. And we're going to apply 2 more of the IMD files. Again, these are for idle. There is a talking couple one. One of them is going to be a male, it doesn't really matter. The one on the right, we'll give her a male. It's basically the same as the female one. So just apply that IMD. And again, she'll just do random talking related motions. And the female on the left, talking couple, you can see that one is highlighted on the left. And apply that. So kind of speed is the name of the game here. And again, like I said, you can apply all these characters at the same time, and you can do these simulations all at the same time, and you'd be done in like 2 minutes. So it's taking me longer because I'm doing step by step. But we're in MD behaviors. You can see there's chat left, look left. This female character, basically the same thing. Again, I won't go into too much detail on this. Let's just go ahead and record these simultaneously. So we'll go to MD controls, record them both simultaneously. Okay, and again, none of these matter. Let's go ahead and start. Okay, now notice one thing, they're not really looking at each other. And we're going to do a look at a little bit in just a moment here, but they are kind of, making random, talking motions, and looks like they're conversating. This always gives me a good time to take a drink break. Just watch the simulation go. Cool, I think we had about 1,700 frames before, right? Oh, the guy like walks into the door. I didn't even realize that before. Whoops. Okay, that can always be fixed later. But okay, so now with both these characters, we have the simulations. What we're going to make sure we do at frame 1 with both of them is have them look at each other. So to look at your character, go to Modify and in Attributes. Near the middle here, you have Look At. You select Pick Target and pick her face. Now she's looking at her face. Right? Pick Target for the other character too, and look at her face. And now they're going to both be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, what an interesting conversation we're having. Okay. Now, cool. Now, if you're, you're concerned about your character's looking too lifeless and dull in your marketing material or something like that, you may want to use this digital soul pack. I mentioned that earlier, and I'll show you where you can find that in the Content Manager under Animations. This one's not in Motion Director. Okay. You'll find the under Expression. Okay, under Animation, Expression, you'll find the digital soul pack. These are just random kind of, there's 100 of them. Okay, just kind of expressions to give your character a little bit more natural life. Okay, now I'm just going to search in this pack for talk. I'm just going to choose some random ones. Okay, I don't really care what they look like. So maybe this one's scheming, right? She's like, oh, we're gonna poison his birthday cake or something. I don't know what I came up with, but okay, scheming talk. You just apply this iTalk template, and if you go to your character, you can find it under expressions here. Okay, there's this scheming one. Just loop it if you want to last longer. Okay, whoops. What are we doing here? What we be doing? There we go. Okay, so just watch her face. She's smiling. Oh, scheming. This is not a talk motion. She's just iTalk. Okay, we need to have. Oh, yeah. iTalk is the actual file format. So let's have one where she's like, oh, there's the subcategories. Yeah, there's talk. Okay, there we go. All right. Sorry about that, guys. She's giving a speech or normal talk. Let's give her normal talk, frame 1. Okay, and then loop it. Okay, now she'll be like, blah, 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 blah. You can see her mouth kind of moving there. Okay, and we'll do the same thing for the other female character. Maybe she's giving a speech. Okay. And of course, you can coordinate the timing of their talking, their mouth movements if you want. You can add more of these. Again, I'm for time limit here. I'm just going to just basically just apply these. Okay. Let's end this before the guy walks through the door there. Okay, we'll do the same thing for this guy. Click on him. And maybe apply a final one here. Maybe he's uncertain. Okay, his stocks are going down or something. And there you go. So let's pay attention to his face. He's like, yeah, now he's talking on the phone. It just adds a little bit of an extra element to the realism of your material there. Okay, I won't bother doing the other two because you can essentially just do the same thing to all these characters. Again, some of them are listening. There's all kinds in this digital soul pack. There's tons of them. And the advantage of it is you can just click and apply it to your character. As long as you're not for like NPC type characters, it's beautiful. It works just perfectly. If you have a up close and personal close up shot on your character's face, you can still use it, but obviously in that case you'd probably want to be manually animating it or doing some facial mocap or something like that. Okay, 5 more minutes, guys, and we're going to be done. I'm just going to get to the final scenario here, which is using the follow technique and with Motion Director. Custom, I believe I saved this as a custom project. There we go. Boot it. All right. So now we're going to have a bunch of like Roman soldiers kind of rushing into battle and following each other. Okay. So this is kind of just a really quick demo scene I put together. Ooh. All right. Now, what you can do here, I'm going to have my character kind of running down this pathway. Now, to do this, I'm just going to basically I can use path. But for time's sake, I'll probably just use my mouse button to kind of click where I want them to go. Okay, so apologies if you want to learn. If you want to learn more about the path, I can show you later. We did the automatic path, but there's also a manual path where you can actually move your character, and he's constricted to the path. So let's just do this. I'm gonna actually just brighten up the light a little bit here. Shabam. Key lights. Let's make it a little bit brighter. The lighter orange. No, I like the orange. If you want, you can also just throw in another key light here. There you go. Just do a wee bit of backlighting. Oops. Okay, cool. I'm just going to work with that. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to actually create kind of a camera sequence, which is going to be really cool. You're going to see kind of the camera switching in real time. And but first, I'm going to do the follow thing. So let's do about 5 minutes. I think it'll take this to happen. So let's go to our IMD controls, or rather our content manager. We're going to apply an IMD template first under animation. So you might be getting more familiar with this process, hopefully. We just go templates instead of custom. Now here we're going to use athletic run. There's no talk in athletic run. And we're just going to apply any one of these. Doesn't really matter. Athletic, agile. Okay. And of course, I can demo these at any point later on, guys, if I went through things too fast. So let's just go ahead and wait for this to load up. I think these are all pretty much similar in terms of speed settings anyways. Okay, so let's just go ahead and use our mouse waypoints. Okay, we don't even need keyboard or gamepad. I'm just going to click, left click, and we don't need to worry about camera right now. MD behaviors, you can see we have run and we have dash. Okay, now actually you can go over to your MD controls, and under Athletic Agile, if you go into your settings here, you can set your initial speed from run to dash. Okay, this will be the beginning speed that you start off with as soon as you start your simulation. The dash here is a bit faster than the run. Okay, and this motion to switch threshold, this will be kind of the sensitivity. If you're using like a game controller, this will be the sensitivity for, you know, how much pressure you need to put on the controller to switch it from dash to run here. Okay, see, dash is the maximum pressure and run is only this level. So I won't cover that right now, but you can always feel free to ask me later if you want to learn more about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and start. And I'm just going to click up here, rather Alt and left click. And my actually for this one, I want to follow cam. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Let's follow cam. Let's just use the full shot. Okay, just going to follow him like this. Or actually, we can use bird's eye view. No, follow cam is, or full shot's better. Okay, let's do the same thing. Start. Why are you facing this way? Oh, I set the custom view to the default one. Custom view wants to set the default, so I need to go to full shot here and then set the default. Okay, so this will be the default shot then. All right, sorry about that. Start. Starto. Okay, and Alt and left click. Okay, so we'll have our character run further up this path. Run, Forrest, run. He's dashing through the snow. Okay, he's getting a little close to the edge there. Let's bring him back in. All right, good enough. Okay, stop. Okay, so we have macro data. That was the Julius Caesar, player control 1. This one right here. Let's just go ahead and create a clip for that. Okay, he's just going to be basically running down the path. Nothing too crazy about that. Here we go. Oh, you can see there's actually a certain point of this run where I think the collision of the terrain is interfering with the character's position. You can see here, this is not how a regular person really runs. So the way to resolve this, it's just a collision issue with the terrain. I think there's kind of a weird terrain thing going on here for the mesh. Anyway, just disable your foot contact and your hand contact, or you can have him just run around with his hands raised like a chicken. Okay, anyways, that's fine. And that'll be resolved. Okay, cool. So we have this guy running down the field. Let's press F to focus on him. And let's add a couple more of the, again, these are actor core characters as well. The Centurion is like a historic Centurion pack or something, or Roman something something. You'll be able to find it in the actor core anyways, under game historical. Okay, so Julius Caesar, this guy here, he's the leader. He's Julius Caesar. Let's bring a couple more, I think the Centurions or Imperators or whatever you want to call them, into the game here. Let's give them a little bit of space behind good old Caesar here. Okay, so this guy will be over here. And let's turn him around. I want to make sure he's kind of like, it doesn't really matter if he's even 180 actually. And then I'm going to copy him. Now to copy a character, you can easily do it by holding your control key and clicking and dragging. Okay, so now we have these two guys who are going to follow King Caesar into battle. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to apply the same IMD file to him. I should say Emperor Caesar. Yes. We're going to go to content and apply the same IMD files to him. So those are not under pedestrian actions. They're athletic run. So athletic average. Again, I can actually do this with one character. And after I've applied the animation to him and copy him, it would be the same animation. But we don't want them to look exactly the same, right? We want them to kind of like follow him at slightly different speeds, slightly different movements. And I'll show you how to do that right here. But we're applying the same, maybe we can even apply this different one. They're slightly different, these runs. Okay, there's just a very slight difference to them. You can always go into your post-production and modify the runs later as well if you want. There's tons of ways to do that. Once this applies, then we'll have them follow good old Caesar. Okay, so let's go to MD controls. We can clear these ones. We don't need those anymore. We have this one, athletic loose. Now we're going to use this control setting here, follow object. Okay, so click on follow object and then pick the target, pick Caesar. This guy here, pick target and pick Caesar. There we go. Okay, now the following ones are very important. We don't really care if we're looking at them because it's going to we're going to have a different far away camera perspective anyways. But for horizontal offset, we want this guy to be a little bit to the right of him. Okay, whatever value there, it doesn't really matter. For this guy, we want it to be a little bit to the left of him. Okay, and position offset is going to be like how off the position he is. You can make this a huge range or a small range, it doesn't matter. Maybe this guy will be following a little bit closer. And time offset's very important because you don't want them to be following kind of in unison with him. So you want to have a little bit of a time offset. This is in seconds here. Okay, so he'll start following after about 1.5 seconds. And this dude here, you know, he's a little bit slower. He'll be like, ooh, where did that guy go? About 2 seconds. Okay, so we have them both applied. Now, again, just to save time, I'm going to record them in live record here. Okay, they do have the athletic average. Now, here we want to change from run to dash. Okay, so they want to be going the same speed as him. Otherwise, they'll never catch up to him. Dash. Okay, under IMD settings. And let's go ahead and simulate it and see how it goes. Okay, so Caesar starts running. 2 seconds later. Hey guys, did I miss something? Let's make sure I didn't miss something here. Did we pick Caesar for the target? We did. He is the target. Time offset, maybe. They should be following him. Let me make sure that I believe that should be fine. Let's try and just do it metadata way anyways. Deactivate Caesar. Oh. All right. Not sure what. There's maybe a little bit of a bug there. Okay, but now they're following him. You can see there are little slightly different offsets, slightly different distances. I would have originally probably wanted them to be, I think that one guy's probably going to go off the edge. Yep. He's floating. Of course, you can always adjust the offset of these motions as well. Okay, good enough. Let's go ahead to the macro data for these two and just create clips. Oh, we need to make sure you have the right character selected first. I believe this guy. Okay, and this guy, the same thing. Okay, so now we have them. Oh. Well, let's have Caesar running a little bit earlier then. I delayed Caesar's run too much. So now he's actually running behind them. When does he start running here? Okay, let's just break this. And delete. Shoot. All right. Oh, and they need to be put contact and hand contact off for this as well. And even at frame 1, I might want to offset these guys a little bit to the left because they do end up running right off the cliff there. Let's try something like that. Okay, one final one, and then I'm going to do the camera work, and then we're done. So let's go ahead and create some. There's another level of soldier, and this level of soldier is the actor core. What am I doing here? Game historical. Oh, yeah, these ones here, regular old Roman soldiers. Okay, for this one, just to save time, I'm just going to do one of them, but I'll show you how you can kind of copy. Let's move him to the ground plane. All right, let's have him twirl around. Okay, so he's like the one soldier who's like left behind. Again, apply the same thing to him. Content, athletic run. We'll give this guy the average athletic run, and he will follow. And then we'll just create some copies of him. And for a tea break. All right, and same thing. We're gonna have him, we can clear these ones, have him follow, we'll pick old Caesar up there. And his offset doesn't really matter. Let's give him a longer time offset. And maybe something like that. And we'll just try and record and start. Okay, I'm gonna just forgot follow cam is on, so we're not going to be able to see him. Hopefully he is as the other guys catching up. Okay, so they do stay relatively on the path this time. Okay, cool. How long should they run for? That long. Hopefully that recorded on this dude. Okay, yep, so that worked. Okay, so now he's following along with everyone else. So now, you know, if you want them to look exactly the same, which I don't recommend, but I'm running out of time here. So again, you can just, once they have the animation applied to them already, I'm going to control and drag, control, click and drag. And you can create as many copies of this as you want, really. I can make even 8 of them if I select more of them. Multiply them into an entire legion. All right, so there we have a bunch of soldiers. And if we way back now, you'll see them running down the road. Okay. And these guys have the run. I forgot to put them onto dash, so they'll be running a little bit slower. But that's really how you can do it. So let's go ahead and what I'm going to do now is just show you the really quick camera stuff at the end, and then we'll get to the Q&A. Sorry for going over time, guys. So camera settings. With your character selected, and he has to be active. So Julius Caesar, active. Okay, camera settings. Now, you can select free camera or follow camera. I'm going to record to camera. I'm going to select create new camera here. And what I'm going to do, just because when you record to camera, you have to create a new kind of recording for your motion as well. You can't just record the camera by itself. It has to be like following along with the character. So you have to actually go to record here, okay? And then over here it'll say, okay, now it's available. If you don't have record on, it'll say the main character is not set to be recorded. Okay. But what we can do here is go to character settings, and I'm just gonna take these off first. Oh man, these are all on record. Oh, because they were all copied from each other, I guess. All right, let's make sure nothing's on record. Go to camera settings, record to camera, follow camera, and create a new camera. Now I'm going to use custom view for this one. We're just going to set this as default. Okay, so this will be our first view of our character. So we'll just have a custom view 1 set to the first view, and that'll be, let's see, let's have something like an overhead view like this. Okay, so we'll have Caesar running like this. And then let's go to custom view 2. And custom view 2, we're going to set it as something like this, maybe where, you know, it's following Caesar, she looks determined. So we'll just set it to here. Okay, and then go to custom view 3. And maybe custom view 3 will be something closer to the ground like this, where it's, you know, kind of following him behind. And there's the soldiers will be in the middle of it, something like this. Okay, and then custom view 4. Again, these are all going to be follow cameras. Okay, so they're all going to follow him. Custom view 4, we can have a very close up, like set like this, where it looks like kind of follow view, like we mentioned earlier. So set. I'm not sure if I set 3. Set 2. Okay, cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into, again, I'm going to show the triggers. Oh, crap. That's no good. Well, I guess the triggers, you kind of basically, as you're recording, I kind of talk you through it. As your motion director is playing, you can basically switch between the cameras in real time. It'll all record to one single camera, but you'll be switching through all those views in kind of in real time. I'll just load up the one character running by himself, I guess, because I don't want to go through that whole process again, unless this is going to be nice to me and save all the stuff that Right. I promise 5 minutes until the Q&A, guys. We'll get to that in just a moment. If this, hopefully this loads up so you can kind of have more characters in our view anyways. That never happened before. It's a very original crash. It loads up all the animations I saved there as well. But what you can do, like I mentioned, is you can actually use your 1, 2, 3 keys, or you can actually click in the timeline and, or in the trigger, motion director trigger window here, and you can trigger the different views. Okay, let's see what we got to. Camera settings, record, follow, custom view 1, good enough. 2, good enough. 3, good enough. 4. Again, I'm not looking for an Oscar here for cinematography. I'm sure a lot of you are a lot better at this, choosing camera angles than I am. Okay, but let's just go ahead, and 1's going to be default, so this is going to be our start one. Let's just go ahead and start. Oh, I guess his motion did not save. See our timeline here. Okay, it looks like it's saved. I'm not sure why he's. Okay, didn't have. Oh, he's on active. That's why. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Make sure he's not on active, otherwise it'll overwrite your simulation. Just be aware of that. Okay, finally, let's get started. Caesar's selected. Oh, we need to have him active to, we have one person active to do the thing. So let's just go ahead and, all right, I'm going to create a path room. So create path. Okay. Okay. Bang, boom, bop. Wow. Okay. So let's have Caesar follow the path. Okay, this time we can use the control on path, but I'm just going to use the auto on path. Okay. I'm going to choose that path. Now, in action settings, if I have it 100% move, he's never going to idle. Okay, so I'm just going to choose it all to move. He's going to start with the dash. Okay, good enough. And then we'll play this back. And we have all those cameras set already. Let's just record it, no worries. And we have all those cameras set. Okay, we should be good to go. All right, which camera we got right there? 2 and 3, further away, and 4. Okay, we also have a 5th one as well. But you can kind of switch to these throughout the duration. Now he's going back on the path. We don't want that. Okay, I think the path for some reason put him way below ground. But since we recorded that and everything, what we can do is we can actually just move him up. So in the timeline, let's make sure we have Caesar selected. And where is he? Yeah, he's below ground. So I think it's just because of the mesh of this scene here, kind of just automatically placed him below ground. But again, we can just lift him up like this. Okay, and at position 1, we can just put him somewhere like this. And like this, up there. And that should be fine. So since he's already recorded, he won't bother using the path anymore. We don't have him active. And we can change our camera to the camera we created, which would be the last one, which is MD camera 0. It'll automatically create MD cameras whenever you do that. So this will be the first one, and of course it's underground. So all that stuff will be, you can see all the keyframes here, unfortunately they will be at the same level underground, but it switches to basically, you can flatten this and bring it up, hopefully. Oh, that's the motion rather. The camera. Yeah, so the camera, you won't be able to do that, unfortunately. I don't think you'll be able to take the entire camera because there's all those keyframes there. I don't think you can bake this camera. No, but yeah, sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize the mesh would be looking all weird like that. But you kind of get the point where he'll be, it'll be switching cameras live. You can, like, while your character is doing whatever motion or running through a crowd or whatever, you can switch the cameras manually by using the triggers down here. Okay, so those ones here I mentioned earlier, and that's only when you're active in the recording. Okay, cool. We did it, the first motion director webinar. So we have a lot of questions here already in the Q&A, so I'm going to get to those right now, guys, and we'll answer those for you. Again, I won't answer questions from the chat window, but just from the Q&A window. Thanks for sticking with me for, gosh, an hour and a half as I blabber on. Okay, so a couple people were saying the video didn't show up first. Okay, question from David. Do you have to have MD labeled animations to use motion director, or could you use other animations? So this is a good question for motion director stuff. I've actually answered this question a few times already via email. We don't allow, there's actually no way to create your own custom motion director animations right now, but that's going to be available in the next update, in the next version. So you're going to be able to create actually your own IMD files and even sell those in the marketplace eventually. But right now you're currently restricted with the packs that are out there right now. But like I said, you can use them for all kinds of cool uses already. Like I showed you, just make sure that your mesh doesn't interfere with your camera, and then you're good. So question from Miguel: Why can't I use the trial of motion director I downloaded? It says an error message. Yeah, so iClone 8, the trial version only gives you walk and run, unfortunately. There are restrictions to motion director for sure. For me, I just download the pack, no problem. But you have to kind of figure out if it's worth it to you to have these extra features. I think things like the athletic run, it really depends on the scenario that you're working with, like your project. Some people may never use motion director run, or they may never use motion director like Sprint or anything like that. Maybe they just want the idles. They want to have like a pre-visualization of NPCs standing around. But yeah, it's really up to you. Unfortunately, with the trial version, you only have the walk and run. So that is one of the restrictions that we currently have. William Hart says, can you use Motion Director with Unreal Engine 5 Link? Yeah, absolutely. Motion Director, like basically anything that you can do in iClone, any animation tool can be streamed live into Unreal Engine using Live Link, including motion capture and all that stuff. This was at 6:12, or an hour ago. Miguel was saying I jumped the last minute. Can you please repeat? I do want to mention as well, we are recording this, guys. So if you missed anything, you can always go back and review on your own time. So just don't worry too much if you missed something or you walk away for a coffee or something. Okay, Pete Pedesser, good to see you again, bud. I heard a rumor in the forum that Motion Puppet will be updated. As far as I know, it's still the only way to add masking to motions. To extend this tool to be able to customize the files available in Motion Puppet. Okay, so mixing motions, yeah, Pete's right, that Motion Puppet, you can mix motions. I just kind of showed you with the gun kind of animation, how you can copy and paste, poses. Unfortunately, you can't copy and paste like the entire motion from the top of the body. It's only the specific pose right now. So I just took that first frame pose of the holding the gun, and I pasted that onto the walking animation that I created with Motion Director. But yeah, as far as I know, there's no plans to update that. That may be just a rumor, actually. We'll see. Let's go to the next question anyways. Thanks for that, Pete. Question from Miguel. Okay, so you're getting a little bit of bandwidth issues. Okay, apologies for that. At the fastest possible internet I can get up here in Canada, in the Great White North. Jeremy asks, is it possible to map custom animations to buttons? This kind of goes to the last question from the other user that asked about custom animations. Yeah, that will be available in the future, but not right now. This is it's a brand spanking new tool, like literally 3 weeks old now. And there are things that are going to be many things that are going to be improved to it. And we actually really strongly encourage your feedback. For this tool, this Motion Director tool, anything that you guys want to see added to it, or any customization that you think should be added. I know it may be a little bit bewildering at first. It was actually bewildering to me at first as well. But yeah, you get to learn about it, and the UI starts to make sense once you start to use it more. Hopefully the scenarios I went through today kind of give you a bit more detail on how you can use it. But yeah, Jeremy, so unfortunately right now there's no custom animations. And to follow up your second question, no interaction with props. There is those triggers that I showed earlier. Like I didn't really show many except for the jump, but there are other triggers as well. And those will be available. They'll be more available in the future, potentially interacting with props as well. Okay, yeah, this seems like it's the number one question. Nick asks, can we add other motions, custom motions, or just the one that comes with the pack? Yeah, sorry, Nick, right now, it's only the ones that come with the packs that you can use, unfortunately. So apologies for that, but it is like a brand new tool. And I encourage you to get into this tool early, because it's a great tool with lots of potential. And I think that, there's going to be a lot of cool stuff done with Motion Director. And there's going to be people kind of selling their own packs on the content store, Motion Director packs and stuff. So there's a lot of potential here. And it is just, like I said, 3 weeks old. So we need some time for improvement. And it's not too buggy. I don't think there's much bugs with it right now that I've experienced, but lots of improvements to come for sure. Okay, Jeremy asks how to draw and fire a weapon. That would, again, be a custom animation that you would have to add as a trigger. onto your IMD file. But not available yet. Pete asks, is there a way of replacing a character in iClone without losing linkages, like reach target? As far as I know, your character should retain the links if you replace them. I've never actually encountered that. But if not, then just bake it. Bake the animation like I showed earlier with the gun. I flattened, we call it flatten the clip, is basically what I call baking the clip. And it'll save it to the motion clip anyways. I don't think, I've never actually tried to replace a character with reach target enabled, but I think it shouldn't be a problem. Might be a bug or something, but another question from Jeremy. Can the camera views be mapped to a stream deck by any chance? Not right now, unfortunately, but we are, like I said, this is just a very new tool and it's very rudimentary right now, but the potential is actually super amazing for a lot of different scenarios. Mess around with it and you'll kind of understand the advantage. I think there's a lot of advantages to using this tool, especially for, expediting your production workflow. There's tons of ways you can do that. Next question from Vincent here. I'm a newbie. My questions: recommended ideal specs to run iClone and its add-ons. What other resources to use iClone for creating training VR? So specs, yeah, Jason mentions Stream Deck would be great. That'd be awesome. And by the way, guys, we do have, sorry to kind of go off topic here, Vincent, but we do have a forum as well, like forum.reallusion.com. And there's a wishful future section in the forum that I encourage you to check out. And you can actually, put ideas or features that you want to see in future versions of iClone and Character Creator. And our development team is always browsing that forum section. So they're always looking for, the most popular new features that people want to add, and they will add them. Okay, Vincent, back to your question there. Sorry. Ideal specs to run in iClone and its add-ons. To be honest, with iClone, you want a NVIDIA GTX card, was what I would recommend, just because we developed kind of using NVIDIA's architecture. GTX 3070, if possible, would be kind of the ideal. Obviously, GPUs are actually coming down right now in price, thank God. But I'm running a 3080 right now, GTX 3080, 10 gigabytes. But you're fine with the 3070, 3060 even. Basically, when it comes to running 3D programs like iClone and Character Creator 4, your GPU is much more important. So just be aware of that. In terms of resources for creating training VR, we don't have any yet. We are working with a number of studios in the near future here to offer targeted training for iClone users. And one of those that we hope to integrate is VR. So we hope to have people training exclusively for use for VR with iClone. We hope to have that in the future. Hopefully it'll be this year, but keep a lookout on our education site, our training center, our global training center page, by the way. Let me just, bang, boom, bang. I think education.reallusion.com still takes you to it. Yeah, global training center here. I'll throw this in the chat window. If you want to learn more about iClone and get some private training and stuff, we do have training centers and certified trainers here. Okay, Georgia State in the U.S. is one of our top training centers. Take a look at that. I'll just put this in the chat window so you can kind of browse it on your own time. All right, Jeremy says I'm running an RTX 2060 Super. Haven't had any problems yet. That's great. Yeah, I think we do have the specs on our site if you want to check the required specs. But check the Learning Center for more learning. I don't think there's anything specifically for VR training just yet, but hopefully we'll have that in the near future. I believe the learn, where are the specs again? Recommended, oh, system requirements, there you go, under overview, system requirements. Here you go, this is for Vincent's other question there. So yeah, NVIDIA, GeForce, or AMD Radeon works as well. I kind of just use the NVIDIA myself. So you can kind of just go off this stuff here. All right, let's get to the next question. Miguel, copy and paste feature is amazing. Wow, yeah, great. Yeah, I honestly, I can't believe it took us this long to get that feature, the copy and paste for the different poses and body parts, but use it all the time in many projects. Jeremy asks, is it possible to set constraints or limits on how much a bone can move or rotate? Good question. I don't think so. We don't want to set limits on your characters. I guess it would depend in which context. Obviously, if you're just using the motion layer editor, you can kind of twist as much as you want. There's no real way to put limits on it. I don't think so. I think that's up to you to kind of manually do that. I can't really think of a way to constrain that. Okay, question from Chris. Why is the female form motion director stopped every so often, and why the avatar's mouth gaped slightly? How can we turn that off entirely? So Chris, the motion director, the female IMD files, again, it's kind of random. There are those basic things that you can do in the actual settings of the character, like down here in the positions and idle times. Mess around with these. If you find your character is kind of idling, or was it idling too much? Yeah, I think you said idling too much. Change this from idle to move, and then change your move time to lower. You can have more idling or more moving if you want. Okay, so then the idle range will be less, and then more moving, more idle, and the move time will be longer. Again, you can use these parameters here just to kind of adjust the way that your character behaves. Okay, question from Raymona. What's the simplest method to switch over to the adjustment of the arms and the legs when we notice they're going into the body or crossing over in Motion Director? Good question, Raymona. I wouldn't recommend doing that in Motion Director. It's just there's so much stuff going on in Motion Director, like that's real time. I mean, you're controlling the character in real time. What I would recommend doing, well, this mountain's high. What I would recommend doing is adjusting your character's motions afterwards. I'm just going to start a new project because this terrain is really annoying me. It's all over the place. Let's just actually load in this project here so we can use this one dude as an example in case anyone has any more questions about that. But yeah, Ramona, to answer your question, after you've recorded the motion and you have the motion clip, that's kind of when you want to make the adjustments after you've done the actual real-time recording. It's real complicated to get good quality adjustments done in real time. I mean, you can attempt it if you have really good timing and a really steady mouse hand. Yeah, sure. But I recommend doing it after you've recorded the motion clip. Chris asks about the mouth. If you want to close your character's mouth, it's super easy. I'm not sure if this dude's mouth is open. You can press the J hotkey, by the way, to focus on the character's face. Seems like his mouth is closed, but if it's open, just at the first frame, moving all these zoom panels out of the way. Go to face key. Again, make sure you're at the first frame. And then just click your character's mouth and move it around, close it. This one here, oops, sorry, I deselected it. Okay, I think I selected, there we go. I'm not sure what kind of mouth stuff he's making here, but There you go. You can kind of close it or adjust it that way as well. And of course, if you go to the modify panel, there's uh, mouth open or something, probably mouth tighten. Your mouth tighten on the right, mouth tighten on the left. And you can close it even more. Various ways you can close your character's mouth anyways. Okay, question from Jerry. Once the motion clip is saved into the timeline, are you able to go back and edit the animation? Yeah, absolutely. And you can edit in many ways. There's many ways you can edit your animation. I can talk about that ad nauseum. There's iClone 8 has actually added a bunch of new ways that you can edit your motions. If you want to learn more about them, then feel free to ask. But let's go on to the next question for now. Okay, Jerry asks again, can you bring in custom animations from Mixamo or Blender to use in Motion Builder? Not at this time, unfortunately, but that is our next item of business. So I know a lot of people are excited about that. Like I said, it's a tool with like endless potential, to be honest. You're going to be controlling your character like a video game, and lots of stuff you're gonna be able to add and customize in the future. So it's just getting started, really. I just the purpose of this webinar is kind of just to give you an introduction to some of the useful ways that you can use it. Fortunately, my camera messed up in the mesh, but okay. In Motion Director, I'm sure others have noticed that even if a path has an arc, the character does not follow the arc. Will this be fixed? So there's a way you can adjust how the character follows the path, and that's done. Why don't I just create a quick scenario here where this dude's going to follow a path here? I'll just create a path that's kind of twisty a little bit. Bang, boom, boom. Okay. Oops. Okay, we'll give him a. So this is the one I didn't really show you. Control on path. Okay. So when you select control on path, it gets rid of your mouse. Actually, all you can use is the W and S keys to go forward and backward on the path. Okay. Pick the path. Okay, and start on path. Start position 0%. Okay, cool. Start. Oh, we need to give him the IMD first. So he's just going to have the casual all IMD. And then we'll have him walking along the path. Okay, so I'm just pressing the W key right now. He's walking along the path. Yeah, he doesn't really follow the path exactly. It does take goes a little bit off there. Okay, now if I press S, he'll walk backwards on the path. Ooh, yeah, he's kind of like, it's just to get the natural kind of movements, because people don't really walk in 90-degree angles normally. That's part of it. Let's stop that, and let's just so in the path settings here, there's actually, if you go to custom up here, there's turn rate in degrees per second and your turn trigger angle. Now, if you increase the turn trigger angle, he'll actually go a little bit kind of more angular along the path. Okay, so he won't stray as far from the path. And the turn rate, you want that to be higher as well. Basically, these two are the ones that are the most important for having your character follow along the path more accurately. Let's just do an automatic one where he just continually walks along the path here. So I don't have to. Okay, so just move constantly. And let's see what happens if we pump these up, turn trigger angle and turn rate to, like, very, very high levels. Let's go ahead and start that. But you'll see it's a bit like, you can see that really quick, like kind of cut, like that kind of quick turn like that. So that's really not something you want, but that allows your character to, follow along the path more sharply. But again, you kind of want to turn this down a little bit, like this. I believe he will stop yeah, it's a little bit smoother now. If you turn this down a little bit, the turn rate, notice he doesn't like kind of snap as much. Okay, and then you can combine that with turn trigger angle and just try and get like the best result that works for your particular path. Now, what I'll show you here as well, if you find that maybe your character's feet are sliding a little bit even when they're along the path, let's just go ahead and stop this. This one here was the control on path. Let's just create the clip there. If you find that your character is kind of, flying off the path at some points, or the feet are sliding, you can actually delete the path now that we've got the animation. You can actually right click on the clip, and you can use the motion correction tool, which is another new tool in iClone 8. This one right here. Honestly, there's a ton of stuff that you can mess around with here, but generally you want to have a preset of normal standing, or sometimes turn. Quick turn can work as well. These depend, and I recommend testing each different preset on your particular scenario. Again, there's no one size fits all solution here, but if you do find that's happening, I'll try the normal standing one, for example. And this is for there's tutorials on this as well, or one tutorial so far on this. And if you just go ahead and click on correct, it'll correct on that particular clip. It'll just take a second to process, and then should be good to go. Did it already process? Nope. So yeah, it's a long clip. It's like this one's 1700 frames. So it'll show you where there's some motion correction. You see a really small green footstep there. If it doesn't detect much motion correction or most sliding, it won't have many corrections to do. I'm just going to play this back and kind of see. And again, different results for different animations. But generally, you wouldn't see any foot sliding after you've done motion correction. But if you do, oh, there was a bit there. Okay, so that's like turning. So again, what you can do as well is you can actually separate your main clip into smaller clips, and you can apply different motion correction presets to different clips. Okay, if you do encounter foot sliding and stuff like that. But generally, the motion correction is like amazing for fixing foot sliding. These ones work quite well. I'm not sure why I got into that tangent. Oh, that was because of the. Okay, so the next question was from Raymond Bell. Hopefully that helped you out there. Is there a way to set an object or area like a desk or a chair that a character cannot walk through in a way that may cause them to walk on the object? Not with Motion Director right now. That is one feature that I particularly would love to see. Obviously, for that office situation where he ended up just casually walking through the wall there, not something that normal people can do. But yeah, I think that's a feature that we're going to have in. I'm not sure. I heard maybe in the next version, but that is an important feature that we do want to add, especially obviously for the scenario that I showed you where you have the random walking around the area. Okay, let's go to Gordon here from will actions scale with different character sizes? For example, a sitting man on the phone puts his hand on the leg. Will a child-sized person's hand reach the leg, or will it be in midair? Very good question, Gordon. We do have the current Motion Director setup is set up for your traditional regular height characters. So the female characters, I think their height is supposed to be like 160 centimeters or something. The males are like 170 something. But yeah, they are set up for characters right now with regular bone scale. Very good question. There will be additions to the Motion Director library that are specialized for characters with unconventional bone scaling or unconventional heights or whatever, like toddler characters or non-human type stylized characters. There's going to be lots. It's really just getting started. It's an exciting tool, and we'll be adding a lot onto it. But a very good question. In this case, the child's leg would be in midair for that sitting animation. Again, depends on how high you put them. I showed you the motion key editing after the fact. Anyways, okay, let's go to the next one anyways, from Jeremy. I'm curious about integration with Blender. Is it possible to export the scene with the animations and camera data into Blender? Is the reverse possible to build the scene in Blender and import it into iClone for animating characters? Yeah, I love Blender myself. I use it all the time, and I think that you can export the whole scene. You can export all the animations. The camera data, not yet into Blender. That's only with Unreal right now, Unreal Live Link. But hopefully the camera data is something that we'll be able to import into Blender in the future. But for now, the cameras aren't transferable from one program to the next. The reverse possible from building the scene in Blender, absolutely. Import it into iClone as an FBX, OBJ, whatever you have. And you can animate the characters in Blender, but I'd probably recommend animating them in iClone, just a lot faster. Yeah, all compatible with the exception of the camera data, like you mentioned, unfortunately. But hopefully that'll be in the near future here. We do have the camera data with Unreal Live Link, though. Next question from Tim Coleman. For the guy sitting in the chair. Oh, I thought you were talking about me. For the guy sitting in the chair, is there a way to constrain his butt from going through the chair rather than positioning him to hover over it like an iClone? Good question. Yeah, you can constrain a character's butt, I guess. If you go to reach target, there's one for the hips here. Okay, so I don't think this was available in iClone 7 for the hips, but you can use the constraint target for the hips, and that'll constrain your character's butt to a chair. Glue the butt to the chair, so to speak. All right. Question from Draymond. Will we have a better toon shader for our characters? Toon shaders isn't really one of the focuses of iClone anymore. I mean, we have a very basic one in iClone. Generally, what I would recommend for doing something like a toon shader type thing is Blender has some good stuff like that. Blender has a lot of different shaders that are available from many different types, many different people, many different types of people too. But yeah, in terms of the rendering, Blender might be where you want to look at the toon shader stuff. Unfortunately, there's not any plans at the moment for iClone to do that. Okay, next question from Jeezy is how can we use Live Link for recording the motion director data to Unreal Project as well? It looks like my buddy Isaac might be answering that question for you. It says Reallusion Webinar is typing an answer, so I think Isaac might be answering that question. But yeah, generally it's just like anything. You record the motion director data. Make sure you record it as a clip, motion clip. But again, anything that's going on in iClone will be transferred into Unreal Engine, even if it's not recorded. It's just the live link, the way the live link goes. What I would probably do though is record in motion director, and then do your recording in Unreal after that. Record the take rather in Unreal. Everyone has their own workflow though for that, but yeah, it depends. But you can. That's the main thing. Okay, question from Fiona. Can the motion director animation simulations, camera switching, and path following be used in real time with Unreal Engine Live Link? So the cameras are a bit tricky. Obviously, you have to export the cameras after the fact. I've actually never tried with Motion Director to export the cameras live. So, I'd have to get back to you on the camera specifically. But like I've mentioned a couple times here, it does work streaming into Unreal Engine just fine. Yeah, I'm not sure what the cameras though. I haven't actually tried that myself. Okay. that answered your question, Gigi. Seems like typing went away. So, okay, next question from Cameron. I see you have a VRAM of 10 gigabytes. What computer are you using that has that many gigabytes? As far as laptops, which would be a great one above minimum requirements that you recommend? Oh man, gosh, a while ago, I was using an MSI gaming laptop, and I think the video card on that was, oh gosh, what was it again? It was a GTX 1070, maybe. It was a pretty old one, but it worked pretty well. Again, laptops, you're going to have less. It's going to be more expensive for the same thing as desktops. It's hard to fit a massive video card into a laptop, so you're going to have some trouble there. I haven't looked at gaming laptops in quite a while, but I can honestly, I couldn't recommend MSI anymore. I love MSI. They've always been very stable for me in terms of, even I actually just had my old video card just crash, and I replaced it with an MSI one, and no problems. Runs like a dream. The previous one I had was Gigabyte, which was kind of let's say it just crashed after within the warranty period, luckily. But yeah, laptops I can't really recommend. Maybe someone can recommend you in the chat that is using a laptop. I'm using a desktop right now. Yeah, so the video card is a RTX 3080, by the way. My video card. Question from Jabari: is there a simple way to apply a motion to a specific part instead of the full body, like with poses? Well, there's the copy and paste in the motion edit motion layer tool that I showed earlier. They have that. There's also masking out body parts with a body puppet. Yeah, but generally what you can, yeah, I think that kind of answers the question, the copy paste here, like I mentioned. I'll just go back into it really quick here so you can get a refresher on the edit motion layer tool. Again, it's called the pose mixer. So if I want to just copy a pose, again, the green part is the part that I'm copying. The gray part is the part that's masked out. You see, you have presets here, and you can do them manually as well. If you only want the fingers, there's a finger setting here as well. Okay. Body part mode. Anyways, lots of stuff to go through in the edit motion layer tool. Another question from Cameron. Can we have one person control a character in the mocap suit and then have the ability to control the other characters with a gamepad or a keyboard? Oh man. Maybe. I've never tried it. I've never tried mocap and motion director at the same time. You're just getting greedy at that point. I'm trying to think, would it work? I'm not sure. I wouldn't think so at this point, just because you'd have to open two separate programs, or it's not two programs, rather two separate tools, and try to have them function simultaneously. And I don't think that works, unfortunately. Maybe someone from the team, the development team, knows better than I do. But I've never tried it, so, and I'm sure it's kind of a really interesting question though, Cameron. I don't have a direct answer for you, but I don't think so. I'm just going to be on the safe side and say no. But hopefully that happens in the future, because that'd be cool, having your buddy running around the room in like a mocap suit and you're like chasing him with a game controller or something. That'd be really fun. Yeah, cool. Something to look forward to, hopefully. Raymona asks, will you please use the keystroke edition so we know what to press in case you're using hotkeys? Also, will you do an animation tutorial? Yeah, we'll have many more tutorials coming out in the near future. The next one coming up is actually using the edit motion layer tool, which I just showed you. In terms of the keystroke edition, we do have an overlay that looks kind of ugly, so we decided kind of not to use it. Oh, I don't even have it on here anymore. but it's because it had like a green background, and Zoom doesn't allow you to do the live chroma key of the specific application that we were using. So it worked on Zoom, or worked on rather Twitch, but not on Zoom. So we just decided not to use the hotkeys. The only actually in this entire live demo, the only keys that I used were W, A, S, and D, and again, Control to slow down your speed and Shift to increase your speed on specific IMD files. So yeah, there wasn't really much to go around. The only other basic control you need to know for Motion Director is if you hold Alt and you left click when your character is walking around, that'll create a waypoint. And if you hold Alt and you right click, it'll create a interrupting waypoint, I guess you can call it. If I just go back really quick and do this, let's just go to this character and let's change him to regular control. So again, Alt and left click creates those green dots. You can create as many as you want, and your character will just keep on going from one to the next in sequence. If you want to rudely interrupt him, Alt and right click. Hey, dummy, over here. Wait, oh. Okay, you get the point anyways. Okay. Yeah, this Alt, holding Alt, and I guess I can quickly show you actually a, let's just have him walk. And I want to show you quickly the camera stuff that didn't work before. I was going to start and get a waypoint over there. So we'll have the dude walk. And what we'll have is we'll have him, we'll do some camera stuff. Oh, actually we can do that at the same time. Let's use our custom cameras there again. 1, 2, oh, see it saved the views from before as well. All right, let's do this. Custom view 1, okay, let's make sure we go show the triggers and playback. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4. So, when you're blocking out your scene, it's very important to, determine what camera is going to show when. Okay, so then we just stop this, and we recorded as a new camera. Oh, we didn't record the camera. Gosh darn it. Okay, so we have to record the camera first. Hey, caramba. Okay, camera settings. Okay, so let's go ahead and record. Now you can actually move your camera as well, and I'll show you that. Let's just go ahead and start this one again and give him a walking distance as far in the distance there. So 2, 3. Why am I walking? Just giving him these. So when you're in this view, you hold Control. Okay, hold Control and left click and drag to pan. Hold Control and right click and drag to rotate. Okay, or to orbit rather around your character. Again, left clicking and dragging, or Control. So you can do this in real time. Again, I mean, if you have a really good mouse hand, then you can do that stuff in real time and move the camera around. Again, you might want to consider that again. Live camera movement can be pretty tricky, but again, if you're really used to it with the camera movements and stuff, then it's fine. I think this is the one that we did. Okay, let's go up to our MD camera and take a preview of what we just created there. This is what I was trying to show you with the Roman. That was weird. I have no idea what's going on there. That's a bug for sure. Let's just pretend he's walking normally. Yeah, not sure why they started doing that weird kind of walk there. Maybe because maybe I forgot to delete a previous motion clip and it's just kind of interfering somehow. Some whatever. But you can see I'm just playing back. Okay. It's the tail of the strange walker. What? Okay, it looks normal from a chest perspective, from a mid shot perspective. It looks pretty normal, but okay. Yeah. Sorry, I went into a kind of a tangent there, Ramona. Can we use live face and motion director simultaneously? I don't think that's possible either. I think I mentioned with the previous user's question, using it with motion capture. Again, this seems to be a very popular request, so hopefully we can do it in the future. But I don't think it's available currently with the current version. All right, Miguel. I think physics on the breasts feel less natural, less real. Breast physics, okay, that's a little off topic, but yeah, we can probably have a webinar tutorial later on breast or chest physics. Ramona, are you going to do a webinar for the other controls such as remote controller and the feature where you can click to walk or animate each location? Yeah, I kind of just showed the clicking to walk to each location. It's pretty simple. It's really not too difficult. So hopefully you caught that, and that question's from like, gosh, 30 minutes ago now. All right, we have a few more questions to go through, and we'll cut off here pretty soon. Gigi asks, can you show how to record an MD animation in Unreal Engine if possible? I don't actually have Unreal on this computer yet. I was waiting for version 5, and I still haven't gotten around to getting version 5 on. But if that's something you guys want to see in the future, I recommend put that in the feedback form for this webinar. We'll email it to you guys at the end of this webinar. Put that in the feedback form. We can definitely look into getting a webinar where we talk about using MD in Unreal Engine for sure. All right. All right. Frank, how do we report feedback on motion directory as we work with and come up with ideas? Feedback on motion. Okay, so if you have any feedback on motion director, there's a few ways you can, if something's going wrong and you need help, you can always contact our support team. Our support team, you can contact them through the website. Just go over here to your, I'm not even logged in. What the devil? These Zoom panels all over the place. Oh, it's not remembering me, that's why. Just go up here, and once you're logged in, go to support, and you can fill out a support form here. All right, create a support ticket, and there's a form, all the other stuff you can go through there as well. What was the other? And also, I want to mention it, Frank, as well, the wishful features section of the forum as well. If you go to the forum, there's a wishful features section. Put your feedback in there as well for stuff that you want to see in the future. Ramona, I know this is a noob question, but what is the hotkey for selecting parts versus the entire character? So this is a character with only one part, I believe. Oh, okay, yeah, no, he has different parts. I mean, you can go to the scene manager, you can select the different parts from here. Okay, this. But often you can even just double click on a part. Like if I double click on his hair, it'll select him. That'll be like his, if I double click here. Maybe not for the facial parts, but yeah, not letting me. Sometimes you can just like double click on a part and it'll like, oh, there you go. I just selected the eyes, the eye occlusion. But yeah, generally just go into the scene manager and select the parts from here just to be more accurate. Question from Miguel. To be honest, some strange movements on the bones I think should be so putting limits on some strange movements on the character bones. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if any one of you guys have played like, EA sports games or stuff like UFC. You'll see some really weird bone movements in those because of just glitches and bugs and stuff. But yeah, developers always try to limit, that happening to prevent that from happening rather, but it happens all the time. So, uh, okay, Miguel, can you suggest the best video for lights and illumination? Oh boy, did I do a tutorial on that yet? If you want to look for tutorials, by the way, in iClone, the short way to do it is go up to help and go up to video tutorials. I can't recall if I did. I did one for lens flare a while back, but in terms of maybe under visual or lighting, if it's there. Um, yeah, the rest of them are from iClone 7. There's a couple of, a few lighting tutorials in here. Global illumination is very important. I think actually Chris did those stuck on 3D. He was actually a lighting artist for Disney. And he did those ones. You might want to check those ones out. Very professional. But yeah, most of them are in iClone 7. Lookup tables are very useful as well for refining your appearance. All right, let's go to the next questions here. So Pete says walking a path vertically like a hill. Oh, so Motion Director currently it doesn't recognize terrain. Very big limitation right now for Motion Director is you can't really walk up and down stairs or a hill right now. We don't have that integrated into the functionality of Motion Director yet, but that's something that we are working on to get in the future. Having your character with the correct foot contact to just walk up a set of stairs or walk up a hill or something like that. Right? Currently with Motion Director, you can't do that, unfortunately. That's a big limitation for sure. Well, Miguel, you really don't like these these video games errors. There's many video games have very ugly and unrealistic kids' faces. Yeah, I mean you can create amazingly realistic faces in Character Creator 3. Last year's CC3 competition, we had some amazing entries that looked, basically photorealistic. I was really impressed with the way they were able to utilize, skin gen and all the other features in Character Creator to create realistic facial expressions or facial realistic heads and skin and shading and all that stuff. Kurt Nielsen, is there a way to have the character walk up a ramp? Yeah, so I just kind of answered that. Unfortunately, not right now with Motion Director. There's no kind of walking up a ramp or walking down a ramp with Motion Director. That's one of the big limitations, like I mentioned. That'll be fixed in the future version here. Yes, so Miguel mentions again, you can use iClone to do, there's throat movements. Yeah, there's more with the extended facial profile. You can, it includes tons of blend shapes, from Melitha's throat. There's all sorts of like small features that you can animate that you couldn't animate before. Amazing stuff for detailed animation. Ramona, doesn't your RTX 3080 say gigabyte on top? Wondering because mine does, and I need to switch if that's the case. I mean, as long as it's still working, it's fine. They're very similar comparisons between the two. I've just found in my experience, MSI has just been very reliable for me. Unfortunately, it was the gigabyte one that did crash after less than a year, but it's under warranty, so I'm getting a new one. Yeah, different manufacturers for the RTX cards. Okay, Jeezy, how about we go use it? How do we go about using the motion blending options once the Motion Director animation has been recorded to the timeline clip? Can you show an example, please, of motion blending once the Motion Director animation has been recorded? Yeah, you can there's a bunch of ways you can do it. It's just like regular motion clip blending. I'm not sure if did I record something on this dude? I did. Let's flatten this first. Flatten all those keyframes there. Oh yeah, this might not be a good one to since he's walking like a weirdo. Let's just right click and remove the animation on this guy. And let's give him a quick and dirty let's just have him randomly walk around a plane. So you can kind of review this from your shape floor. Let's just align it to this dude, that guy. Let's have him controlled. He has a casual walk, that's fine. Let's have him auto in zone pick floor. Doesn't really matter. Let's have him just moving constantly. Okay. All right. So he's going to be just walking around this spot randomly. Oh, I think I'll go this way. I think we'll go that way. Okay, good enough. I think, Jeezy, your original question was to motion blending options. So, I mean, you wouldn't normally use motion blending too much if you're using the motion director tool, because it naturally blends all the motions together. You wouldn't normally use it where it doesn't do the object related track. There we go. Because I mean, there's no real reason why you'd want to kind of blend a lot of the stuff together, because the purpose of motion director is it blends it together for you. But again, if you wanted to blend stuff together, I'm not sure in this case what I could blend together. Maybe avoid going off the edge there. Right click, break. So what's his foot? Left foot. Maybe I'd break it here. Again, this will require a lot of transform position changing as well. Go boop and pop up there. You can like blend them together like this. I'm not sure what it would do. Yeah, again, you would need to, at the very first frame of this very first frame of this transition, you would want to add a keyframe. Oops, there we go. Transform keyframe. Oh, there we go. Then, wow, my mouse is going all wild. Wild, dude. And then here, we would set him back. Again, this is like, would not recommend doing this. It's gonna look real stupid. Yeah, again, you'd have to get the position correct. Where was he here? Left foot there. Left foot. This is, again, and it was this really stupid example of blending. We don't want to. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend doing this, because I mean, motion director already has it done for you. And there is an example really in the second tutorial I did about macro, combining like macro recording method, which is this one right here. Okay, and that's where you basically adjust the transform position every time before you start another recording, and it kind of blends those together. So the method I just use is really doesn't really work very well. And I would use the macro data or the macro recording method, which is I think the last scenario I cover in the second motion director tutorial. So I meant animation layers. I just read your second part of your question there. Yeah, animation layers is kind of the same thing. Like there's an animation layer tutorial as well. Animation layers is also a new feature with iClone 8. Highly recommend checking it out. I won't spend too much time more on this webinar, but I will show you where to find that. And again, once it's all recorded into a clip form, then essentially it's just a matter of you can edit everything the same, do all the regular clip editing. What was I looking at? Oh, learn online tutorials. iClone. Motion editing. Yeah, I think it's here somewhere. Motion direction control. Oh, it's too many stupid Zoom windows. Yeah, nonlinear editing, this one right here. So this is the one, animation layers. You can see animation layer basics in the outline there. Recommend that one for sure. That's a new feature as well. All right. Draymond, will we have the ability to change GUI colors in iClone 8 in the future? Possibly. I think you can change it to a certain extent, but not much. If that's a huge request for people, for sure, I think we can add that no problem. It's not too difficult to add in. So Len mentions here MIDI learn or custom triggers for switching cameras. Yeah, you can have that. You can have the custom triggers for switching cameras as well. I didn't really show that, but that's available with Motion Director. Okay, in the Motion Director tools right here. Yes, there's your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Jabari, are there any fixes for facial animation to work with FBX exports? That's a kind of a loaded question with in terms of it's like a very, very wide topic. So I won't really cover it right now because we're kind of way over time. Yeah, if you guys want to, have more specific tutorials on specific things, definitely put that in the feedback form for us. And I'm more than happy to do webinars all day, every day for you guys. So as long as I can take a break once in a while. Jason asks, did we cover syncing timelines with Unreal? No, and we won't cover that right now, Jason, because it's a longer topic and I don't have Unreal installed on this computer. But if you guys really want to learn more about timeline syncing with Unreal, like Jason mentioned here, or using Motion Director with Unreal, I'd be happy to do another webinar on that. We can even have tutorials in the future as well. We'll probably have both. Okay. Daniel says, how do you stop the heads from vibrating when you use the look at constraint? So Daniel, there's a slider below look at constraint where you can adjust whether it's a pick target, for example. You can adjust the eye or the head strength. Okay. So again, this guy's just looking at the floor. So you can see that's the head all the way, the eye like this. If you find that the look at constraint is, not smooth even after that, you can, set free at a certain point. Press F3 and go into your timeline for your character. And the look at constraint can be found in the constraint track of your character. And under constraint, define look at. And you can always adjust the levels here. You can adjust the transition right to here. Okay, there's a tutorial that goes into more detail on that, but yeah. He is dancing the can-can. Yeah, that was the guy dancing before. Okay, so Miguel, sir. Thanks for your commentary, Miguel. Thanks for your candor on the Q&A about the AAA video games these days. They do always have glitches, for sure, and we always want to avoid glitches. But yeah, all right, we are that's a 2.5-hour webinar. Thanks so much, everyone, for being with me today. And sorry if I bored you and with too much kind of blathering about. I can't think of another better expression. My brain's kind of fried right now after a 2-hour presentation. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for being here today, and hopefully you learned something about the Motion Director tool. I personally think it's a tool with a lot of potential, and there's a lot of cool ways you can use it for sure. Whether it be for movie previs or architectural pre-visualization, even like different film different cinematography and film, like I showed in the first example there. Yeah, it's really great. It's a really great and easy tool to use. I recommend getting familiar with it. Trying it in different scenarios is the best way to learn, anyways, rather than watching me kind of just blabber on and stuff. But hopefully, you guys learned some stuff here. Don't forget to fill out that survey. Check out the freebie again, like every month. It's going to change at the beginning of July, and the deal on the motion director packs there as well. The pedestrian one is really good, I think. I like the pedestrian pack, has a lot of stuff in it. The athletic one is good for certain situations as well. So cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and end off the webinar. Thanks again, everyone, so much for being here. Salute, and good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you on the flip side.